Steampunk alphabet, written and illustrated by Nathaniel Iwata. A is for apple. A is for apple, an apple-shaped music box made to revere the capital's founding of 200 years. Though many were made in all shapes and sizes, most were converted to listening devices. These elaborate music boxes, powered by a small amount of water and an occasional winding, are rare, as most of them were lost in the colony wars. The apples, also called note stems, have become a much sought-after item among historical collectors, and it is believed that no more than 6 still exist in the world today. B is for balloon. B is for balloon. The Billows balloon was a sight to be seen. It could carry a speaker, a clock, or a screen. Steam-powered thrusters and hot air for lift would keep it in place instead of adrift. The Billows balloon, named after its inventor, has been used for a variety of purposes carrying speakers, screens, messages, or clocks. Like the one seen here, kept aloft by a unique combination of gases, it was capable of carrying heavier loads than other balloons of its size. This gas, also invented by Billows, was later used in commercial airships. C is for candle. C is for candle. A traditional candle with wax and a wick could not hold a light to this candlestick. A tiny steam motor running below would generate power to keep it aglow. The first of the mobile lanterns created at the dawn of what came to be known as the electric storm, these portable lamps were made in the likeness of their traditional wax and wick predecessors. Though popular for its convenience, the bulbs had a tendency to overheat and burst, making it the cause of several house fires. D is for dumpster. D is for dumpster. These on-rail dumpsters were compactors too, deployed to the North City states as they grew. Lined up and emptied on every Tuesday. Here comes the trash train, the children would say. To better deal with an ever-growing population and the problems of pestilence and disease that can come as the result of the garbage produced, a public system of waste removal was designed. Building upon the existing trolley tracks that ran through many of the cities, the dumpsters could easily be moved and returned regularly. E is for egg. E is for egg. When children turned 5, it was custom to give an egg that was made by a close relative, a message inside that was not to be seen till the day they could crack it at age 17. It was tradition in many colonies where a child's primary chore was collecting eggs each morning to receive one of these decorative eggs on their 5th birthday. Usually handmade by a father or grandfather, the egg was to be carefully kept until the open age of 17 and then broken to reveal the message placed inside. F is for fish. F is for fish. These mechanical fish could blend in quite well, swimming so naturally most could not tell. Surveillance devices with gills once deployed, sending data to centers long since destroyed. Although short-lived, these mechanical fish once swam through many rivers, streams, and moats at the turn of the century. They were so durably designed that many outlived their originally intended uses and can still be spotted occasionally patrolling now peaceful waters. G is for goggles. G is for goggles. A good pair of goggles was becoming a must, with all of that steam and the smoke and the dust. As industrial sectors put themselves in a haze, goggles were starting a new fashion craze. As the fires of industry were set ablaze, goggles like these became part of many workers' daily outfits. The fuels burned to power machines and factories produced a perpetual, nasty concoction of stifling fumes in large portions of the city. Though initially worn out of necessity, goggles soon became a fashionable accessory. H is for helmet. H is for helmet. With steam-powered engines in every household, a good fuel source was more precious than gold. Miners dug deep in the earth and discovered they stood more of a chance if they kept their heads covered. As steam engines became incorporated into everything from vehicles to kitchen appliances, the need for a reliable and plentiful fuel source grew. Burrowing deep into the earth was hard and dangerous work, and helmets like this one not only protected miners' heads, but some offered features like built-in radios or even allowing them to see in the dark. I is for instrument. I is for instrument. Clarinets, cellos, and violins were no longer drawing an audience in. These new contraptions flew right off the shelves, played melody, harmony, and accompanied themselves. Combining traditional instrumentation with the technology of the day, instruments like this one began to fill seats at concert halls everywhere. The mechanisms, built into everything from trumpets to violins, allowed a single musician to harmonize, play counter melodies, and even provide self-accompaniment. J is for jar. J is for jar. A lid that was stuck left many resigned, so a jar that would open itself was designed. Too expensive to make on a large enough scale, the self-opening jar never came out for sale. In light of solving a simple problem, the self-opening jar was more of a gimmick than a practical solution. Attempting to unscrew traditional jar lids instead of utilizing a new opening method proved to be difficult and expensive. This device was short-lived, though praised for its ingenuity. K is for key. K is for key. As security demands kept lockmasters busy, the new changed lock key put them all in a tizzy. Constructed of dials and gears from a clock, this key could change shape to fit any lock. With locksmiths creating more advanced lock and key systems in an attempt to stay ahead of the ever-resourceful lockpicks, change lock keys like this one began to circulate on the black market. Their ability to act as the ultimate skeleton key led to a slew of locks claiming to be change lock proof, though few of them really were. L is for ladder. L is for ladder. Without something to lean on, most ladders would fall, but the self-standing ladder used nothing at all. With gyroscopes spinning to keep it upright, this gadget became a success overnight. Looking, at first sight, like some sort of magic trick, the self-standing ladder became widely popular, going into mass production after its initial debut at a colonial fair. Ironically, its self-taught inventor, disabled after falling off a traditional ladder in his youth, was never able to climb it himself. M is for microphone. M is for microphone. This speaking device was a new microphone, but did more than turn up the volume alone. It could translate your words or even your tone, adding an accent that wasn't your own. Calling these speaking devices microphones is probably an understatement. As technology advanced, not only did a typical microphone amplify one's voice, but could also translate it into different languages, even changing the user's inflection to mimic a specific region. Later models were condensed into smaller sizes that could be attached to clothing or put in a pocket. N. N is for nest. N is for nest. Unlike a nest where a bird comes to roost, this mechanical nest gave a magnetic boost. Any object placed in it that wasn't too large would soon gain a positive negative charge. For a brief period of time, a nationwide obsession with magnetics led to the invention of the nest. Named for its resemblance to a bird's nest, these mechanical cradles were capable of producing a unique magnetic field strong enough to magnetically charge almost any object placed in one. O is for otter. O is for otter. Most boats tend to travel on top of the water, but this small submarine could dive like an otter. It moved with propulsion from a tail with a fin and could surface in seconds for more oxygen. Lightweight and agile, this small submarine was able to move quickly and quietly beneath the water's surface. It was nicknamed the Otter for its unique propulsion method and ability to refuel its air supply. Using a series of intake and release valves, within a matter of seconds, the otter could surface and refill its oxygen tanks from the surrounding air. P is for purse. P is for purse. As life became tough with an increase in crime, purse theft was happening time after time. These high-powered satchels offered increased protection. A purse could be tracked in any direction. When a rash of purse thefts during the coal depression threatened to take away what little money people had, elaborate mobile security systems were developed to deter and prevent thieves from getting the precious contents inside. These locks did everything from acting as a locator to delivering electric shocks and knockout gas. Q is for quill. Q is for quill. The copy quill's premise was wildly exciting, a quill that could keep you from ever rewriting. Whatever was written while using the pen, the quill could remember and write it again. Created less to contend with the printing press and more as a novelty item, the copy quill allowed for simple reproduction of anything drawn or written by hand. This technology later became an invaluable espionage tool, allowing agents to swap a target's pen with one like this and record their correspondence. R is for rocket. R is for rocket. With no need for a runway to take off or land, rockets were meeting a growing demand. First used for cargo and then transportation, this new form of travel was sweeping the nation. Faster than an airship and able to take off and land without a runway, many people began to put their hope of future air transportation in rockets. Their initial use as long-range weapons made them a difficult sell to the transportation industry, as many passengers had come to view them as exploding instruments of death. S is for speaker. S is for speaker. To make someone heard in a loud, noisy room, speakers were needed to turn up the volume. This wireless box took a bit of exacting, as the sound of its motor was often distracting. Early speakers used natural vibrations of wood or metal to amplify sounds, later requiring a power source to produce higher volumes. In an attempt to stay cordless, initial versions had motors. though the noise they generated was often louder than the sound they were trying to amplify. T is for toaster. T is for toaster. Bread isn't bread once it's been through a toaster, though it used to be toasted with fire and a roaster. With changeable plates that could sear a design, these toasters made toast that looked ever so fine. A convenient way to toast bread may not have been a monumental achievement, though it did prove to be a popular one. Though widely used strictly for its function, the toasting plates utilized by many models became an ancillary product, eventually generating more money than the toasters themselves. U is for umbrella. U is for umbrella. An armored umbrella designed as a shield from the ash and debris that the factories would yield. Over the top for just keeping you dry, but perfect for hazards that came from the sky. Far from typical, these armored umbrellas were developed to protect against chemical rain, falling debris, and hot ash. Used not only in wartime but also in some of the industrial areas that had become heavily polluted. Young men looking to earn a few coins would often act as umbrella carriers or brellas for the affluent. V is for vest. V is for vest. Not just your typical fashionable vest, this waistcoat had armor sewn into the chest. With hidden compartments and buttons that popped, some styles could restart your heart if it stopped. In addition to being a widely worn article of daily clothing, some vests were designed for military use as well. Lightweight armor plating, hidden compartments, even explosive buttons gave their wearers a tactical advantage when undercover. Some models could deliver an electric shock to restart a heart or stop one if need be. W is for window. W is for window. These specialty windows were part glass, part machine. They could darken or lighten or change the whole scene. Despite their high cost, it proved to be true that people would pay for an alternative view. When is a window not just a window? When it's a Stratton window. That was the catchphrase for these specialty windows, which became quite popular despite their price tag. Using layers of conductive glass, light projections, and machinery, the windows could be installed to replace a conventional one or used as a standalone display. X is for xylograph. X is for xylograph. An old style of printing with woodblock and ink could stamp a design that looked very distinct. This art was revived when it found a new niche, changing the block with the flip of a swish. Xylograph is an older method of printing in which ink is applied to a carved wood block, then set to paper. The method saw a revival when Henry Youlder invented a xylograph that could change shape with the application of electricity. Tiny movable pieces could rearrange themselves to form a new block. Y is for yarn. Y is for yarn. Clothes made from yarn had long been around, but to do the reverse was a method unfound. This machine could take clothing and quickly produce a new spool of yarn for some other use. The reverse engineering of yarn may sound like a small feat, but it was a game changer in the textile industry. With the invention of this machine, garments could be directly fed into one end and converted to a new spool of yarn on the other. Though useful, the machines were temperamental depending on the type and condition of the fabric. Z is for zipper. Z is for zipper. Buttons and holes could take quite a while, so zippers were quickly becoming in style. An ingenious device that was only outshined when one that could zip up itself was designed. The zipper, in itself a bit of engineering genius, was only improved upon by Nathan Match, the son of a watchmaker and amateur inventor. Using tiny gears and watch components, Match created an autonomous zipper that would zip up and down with the push of a button. The end.